I didn't see a captain Thursday night at Madison Square Garden. I saw a great player on the other side. I saw 42 points, 13 assists, 8 rebounds. I saw total control. What I didn't see was someone steadying the Knicks. Hi, I'm Mike Spenley. This is From the Bench, the Knicks podcast, and this one feels different. The Detroit Pistons came into Madison Square Garden and beat the Knicks again, 126-111. And if we're being honest here, it didn't feel like a fluke. It felt familiar, and that's what's scary. Cade Cunningham dictated that game from the opening stretch. He wasn't rushed. He wasn't uncomfortable. He got into the paint whenever he wanted. He found shooters when help came, and when the Knicks made a small run, he answered. That's leadership. Now, this isn't about praising Detroit. It's about looking at ourselves, the Knicks. Remember I said last week I wasn't afraid of Detroit, and I wasn't afraid of Boston. And right now that's still true, because I'm way too concerned with the Knicks. They all seem to be going in different directions, because this is the third time this season the Pistons manhandle them. And when that happens 3 times, it stops being about matchups, becomes about identity. Last episode, I talked about a script. If the Knicks were going to beat this team, they needed to defend without fouling. They needed to control tempo. They needed to make Cunningham work for every touch. Instead, Detroit looked comfortable again. That's the part that sits with me. I've been around teams that had hit rough patches as well. In 1973, we lost games too. In fact, in 73, we lost 7 of our last 12 regular season games. Before we beat Baltimore and then against Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals, we had a 3-1 lead and lost Game 5 in Boston and lost Game 6 at the Garden. It was brutal, compounded by the fact that owner Ned Irish came into the locker room and cursed the team out and said that they would never win in Boston. You know who stepped up as a leader that day in Boston? Dean the Dream Meminger. Played 36 minutes. The Pearl was held to 12 minutes. He wasn't well. He had 13 points, Meminger did, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists, and played terrific defense. He was the leader on the floor. And he was why the Knicks beat the Celtics in a 7th game at Boston Garden. In fact, the Knicks became the first team ever to do that. And then the Knicks go on and beat the Lakers in 5 for the NBA championship in 1973. He was a leader because he had to be. Mikal Bridges and Karl-Anthony Towns really need to watch that game. Tonight at the Garden, I kept waiting for that moment, and it never came. Listen, Brunson competes. He really does. I respect that about him. He's tough. He's skilled. He's earned everything he's gotten in this league. But leadership isn't only about scoring or fighting through contact. It's about presence. It's about calming your group when things start speeding up. It's about making sure that your team doesn't drift away. Detroit, they didn't drift. The Knicks did. And that's uncomfortable to say because this team has shown it can defend. We've seen them lock in. We've seen them string together stops. So don't tell me this is about ability. It's not. It's about consistency. It's about tone. And at home, against the team sitting on top of the Eastern Conference, that's a team the Knicks will probably have to beat to get to the NBA Finals. Well, guess what? Tone matters. The Garden crowd can live with a loss. What they don't want to see is another team walk in and feel at ease, especially at home, like Indiana has the last couple of years. That's what happened Thursday at Madison Square Garden. This feels bigger than all the shots that the Knicks missed. To me, it really feels like a leadership question. We'll talk about that as we move on. This game was the most upsetting game for me this season. There was anticipation, a playoff atmosphere at MSG. What do the Knicks do? They come out and lay an egg as they lost going away by 15. Cunningham destroyed the Knicks with 43 points, 13 assists, and 8 rebounds. He weaved his way into the paint so easy all night, and he made spectacular passes to guys for dunks and layups as they slipped past Towns and Bridges down low in the paint. Cunningham just glides, and changes speed so easily. Such a tough player to defend. He hit jumpers as well, and he was overall fantastic. He willed this undermanned Pistons team to a win. His pace is comfortable and easy. The Knicks actually got out decently in the first quarter with somewhat of an upbeat tempo, and they were running a little bit. OG, who was out for a couple of weeks with the toe, missed his first 5 threes, and the Knicks were actually 1 for 16 from 3. Yes, you didn't hear that incorrectly. 1 from 16 from 3 in the first half. After going down 28-26 after the first quarter, I thought Brown made a huge mistake by not going to Towns with the basketball. Knicks hung a little bit in the second quarter, and in fact, they were only down 51-48 with 1:16 to go in the half. In my opinion, this was the turning point in the game. Cunningham then hits an easy jumper. Duncan Robinson hits a dagger 3, and Thompson makes an easy layup off Brunson. And just like that, Detroit takes control and has a 10-point halftime lead. Hey, that's what really good teams do, man. They go for blood when they see the opportunity. Then Brown finally gets Towns involved in the third quarter after Towns only took 3 shots, good for only 2 points in the first half. Horrible coaching decision by Brown in retrospect. Towns scores a quick 11 points, and the Knicks got within 2, and then the Pistons just continued to cruise and took control. I feel another huge mistake Brown made was inserting defensive players Jose Alvarado and Jeremy Sohan to start the fourth quarter. Down 90-79, they needed offense at that point. The Pistons quickly extend the lead to 16, and that's all she wrote. Listen, Detroit really controlled this game as Cunningham was unguardable. Bickerstaff outcoached Brown for the 3rd time this year. Some numbers to look at this year between Cade Cunningham and Jalen Brunson as we look at the graph on screen. As you can see, Cunningham is averaging 27.3 with 11 assists and is shooting a great 51% against the Knicks, while Brunson is averaging 23.3 with 4 assists and a low 42 shooting percentage. From a team perspective, in the 3 defeats, the Pistons are shooting 53% against the Knicks' porous defense, and the Knicks have only shot 41% against the Pistons. Also, the Pistons have out-rebounded the Knicks by a 44-34 advantage. Currently, the Knicks are 4th in the NBA in rebounding, and the Pistons are 6th. I mean, what can I say? The numbers tell it. Another defeat. And you know what? This one hurts more. Bridges pulls off another disappearing act and is benched for the last 9 minutes. And Towns is complaining about the offense again. Here we go. You know, if you're the kind of Knicks fan who actually watches the rotations, who notices body language, who cares about leadership and not just highlights, you belong in the huddle. That's where we go deeper. It's a smaller group, real basketball talk, no noise, just the game. Head over to michaelspenley.com and leave me your email. And if this is the kind of conversation that resonates with you, hit the subscribe button in the lower right of your screen. We're trying to build this the right way. Okay, here's where I land on this. This isn't just about Cade Cunningham and the Pistons. It isn't about all the missed threes, 1 for 16 in the first half. It isn't about the defense. It's about response. Because when a team handles you 3 times, eventually you have to push back. And I didn't see enough pushback the other night. Bridges disappeared again. Quiet night. And when that happens, somebody has to pull him in, demand more. Not later, right there in the moment. It was a perfect example of Bridges being too passive. Midway through the third quarter, I believe maybe it was 8 minutes to go in the third quarter, Bridges got a ball down low, maybe 4 feet from the basket, okay? Tobias Harris was fronting Karl-Anthony Towns under the basket. Instead of Bridges going up strong and aggressive for the shot, he takes 2 steps back and misses about a 5-footer. Karl-Anthony Towns gets the rebound, but in a replay commits the foul and the Knicks lose the ball. That passivity by Mikal Bridges we see way too often. And Karl-Anthony Towns, you can see the frustration. You can see him talking about the offense. But at some point, complaining about the offense isn't the same as commanding it. Hey, Cat, if you want touches, demand them in the flow, seal, post up, sprint into actions, be undeniable. A lot of this is on Coach Brown. I said it. The rotations, the timing, getting Towns involved late, starting the fourth period with defense when you needed scoring. Those are coaching decisions. But let me tell you, leadership is inside the lines. That belongs to the captain, and that's Jalen Brunson. I'm not bashing him. I respect him way too much for that. He changed this franchise when he got here. He brought stability. He brought toughness. But leaders evolve, and this is the next step. When the offense starts drifting, you don't just take tougher shots, you organize it. You get Bridges going. You demand Towns in spots where he's comfortable. You make sure the ball doesn't stick. There were stretches Thursday night where the Knicks looked like 5 guys taking turns. That's not who this team has been recently. And that's why this one bothers me. Because I've seen Brunson steady this group before. I've seen him control tempo. I've seen him bring poise to chaos. I just didn't see enough of it against Detroit and haven't for the entire season. Maybe that's harsh. But let me tell you, if you're the leader, the standard is higher. It has to be. Detroit looks connected, clear, very comfortable. The Knicks look unsettled against them. It's not a talent issue. It's control. And getting that control back starts with the guy who has the ball in his hands most nights. Brunson doesn't need to score more. He needs to orchestrate more. He needs to respond like a captain. Because if he does, the rest of this falls into place. And if he doesn't, this becomes a pattern. And in this league, patterns get exposed in the playoffs. This team is too good to drift. Now we'll see how they answer. I'm Mike Spenley from the bench, a Knicks podcast. Stay focused.